Our society will be a society who will be aging, and we should be aware that we should prepare us to go in a society who can give them a right place in a healthy aging process. European Union has been thinking about this, has been developed a program, active and healthy aging program, and has been conducted between 2006 and 2014, several programs to propose some recommendations. How should we think about aging and healthy aging and active healthy aging? So they base their recommendations on 6 different statements. The first point is empowerment. But are we seeing that in our population? Aged people who are hospitalized, they getting back to home, they have a medical plan, medical prescription of medication, of treatment. After 1 month, we are remarking that 30% is not following anymore this treatment. After 6 months, only half is continuing the normal treatment that has been prescribed. We have really a problem here. Because I think it's an approach of a top-down. People are not being implicated in how can they manage at home the different aspects of their treatment. So we should really think about that we are proving that patients, all the patients should be more implicated in this manner of treatment and to go in a better empowerment of patients and caregivers. Another point, fall prevention. In Switzerland we have 400,000 falls a year. 70,000, 80,000 are hospitalized. 1 billion Swiss francs are we spending for fall. Fall prevention should be a major point we could integrate in a society approach, in a co-creation of a senior living lab. We could give information, we could give them some risk assessment, we can contribute to propose some activities who can reinforce people about people who are at risk to fall. Frailty, a major problem. Of 100 older adults, 10 to 20% of them are frail to pre-frail. This kind of situation, people who are living at home, are very, very risky situations. 9 out of 10 older adults desire to stay at home as long as possible, even to die at home. How can we sustain people who are in this situation? How can we maybe make it reversible with activities, with some engagement of different stakeholders together? Chronic diseases. Aging population is also increasing chronic diseases. When you see here that in 10 years we are almost doubling the whole number of persons with chronic diseases, we have real something to do. But we cannot do it alone. It's an interdisciplinary approach. Smart living, new approach, technology is there. A lot of people, a lot of engineers, a lot of universities are proposing real, interesting technology propositions to use to make that the living situations are more feasible, more that we can make more assessments about risk situations. But how are people thinking about this? Are all the adults, do they agree to go to be monitored every day. These things are questioning, are things we are really worried about. And how can we make that even technology is there? We should not neglect it, but it should be also thought, how can we make it that is adapted for all the adults? And that it not only is a top-down approach by engineers who thinks that's a good technology for all the people, without being asking, do you think it is useful for you? Another recommendation of the European Union about healthy aging and active aging is to go in generating social innovation. And this point are we developing in our senior living lab to use community-based needs assessment to go in co-creation of solutions and bringing also some hopeful visions for a new life course approach for all the adults who wants to live at home.
And that's where this new human narrative is so important, because we have to story a new life course. And that means that we've received this wonderful gift. We have 30 more years. And our ancestors gave this to us from the progress that we've all experienced. And what are we going to do with it? How can we foresee our future together? How can we start talking about it and rewriting a new human narrative on healthy aging and healthy living throughout the life course? We are really using this living lab movement that came from MIT and has really been embraced in Europe. We want to do applied research because that's what our university does, and we want to bring people in. So we're really going to the communities with an ecological approach to social innovation, and we want people to participate. So we've asked different associations for aging people to collaborate. So we are trying to define this new life course vision with the help of seniors, and that's one of our central methodologies, is to go into the field with seniors accompanying us. And we're using the different seniors as partners, designers, because we're in a university situation where we have different faculties. So we have designers, economists, information technologists, nurses, psychologists, and mediators. I myself am a mediator, and this is a social space where we need to use intermediation to really bring forth the resources of the community and teach people in this learning community to work together. We are also working to bring in policymakers. So for instance, in the Canton of Valais, where I live, we've created relationships of trust that have allowed them to say yes when we have our kickoff for the platform for 60 plus in health prevention. We want to work with the Senior Living Lab. So we'll be kicking off the day with them, providing our expertise with conference speakers and then a World Cafe in the afternoon to generate solutions for the community in Valais, so we can reinforce the academic competencies with the policymakers in our region, bringing people together, asking them what they think, and allowing them to participate in the vision of wellness in our canton. People come to the state of vulnerability, and there's a moment when they give up. And what is causing this moment to happen? What is influencing that person to say, I can't go on alone, and I'm willing to give up my autonomous lifestyle for a more dependent lifestyle. I'm willing to be institutionalized. How can we know more about this moment so that we can bring resources in and buttress the autonomy of the person and work on capacity building so that people aren't pushed into a hospitalization where they come out often weaker and more vulnerable? We are coming from the university, so we have to show methods. And we've been working on finding methods that will then allow us to co-create with this vision of the Living Lab and community-based practices. We've thought of 3 major areas of intervention, so balanced nutrition, communication, and transportation, because we know that social isolation is one of the highest risk factors. This is something that is also a new way of teaching, a new way of learning. So we're developing at the same time a learning community, and we're trying to learn together already with the head professors. Henk's vision was the senior living lab, and he was able to pull together other professors from these other faculties. Quality of life at home. We mustn't forget families and communities, and I think the Danish example here is so inspiring because you've all given so much importance to communities, and you've talked about the civic-centered approach. In each explanation yesterday, there was a civic-centered approach, even to these new people being elected, 9 new members to parliament with a new vision. So this is a new phase of democracy that is really emerging in Denmark, and you're an example for all of us in Europe to also bring in families and communities and to say, how are we all going to do this together? How will we bring quality aging to each home and to each individual?
It's really our aim to not to stay local in Switzerland, but to go also further in this approach. So I think while aging it's not a local problem, but it's a world problem, our aim is also to share experience with others and to go on an international way and to go with this approach of the bottom-up, where all the adults are not only spectators but also actors. So we want to create for them and with them a kind of approach that they can stay at home as long as possible in good condition. We thank you.
Thank you very much.